Good evening. All right. Let folks get signed in and make a quick little adjustment here to make this look at me a little better than the ceiling. There we go. We're good. It is. We got about 3 minutes. I got to run and get a drink. I hope your day has been great. I've been waiting on you. Just been studying too much. I need to make a confession, really. Just been at this and won't let it go. But anyway, I'm going to run and get something to wet my whistle, and we'll go from there. All right, love you. See you in a minute. Oh, just in time. It's 8 o'clock. Turn the volume down just a little bit. I don't think it's that loud to start off with, though. I can out-talk that. How about that? All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man, like I said, I don't know when you signed on, but I feel like I should make a confession. I've gotten so caught up. There's the Corvette clock. I've gotten so caught up in studying this, I didn't think I was going to make it. That I was going to get done in time to get us started, man, because I have just been, I've been after it. There's so much fresh research, and that's just what I'm into. It's like the last time the Grammys came on, I know they normally do some kind of tribute to somebody from the past, but I didn't recognize one name. Right? I didn't recognize one name. When The Weeknd did the Super Bowl, I thought The Weeknd was the guy driving a nice car, because I'm a car guy. I thought he was a guy in a nice car that was just advertising the Super Bowl was coming. I had no idea who he was and he was going to perform. Great music, but I didn't know him. Former DJ, retired, So anyway, this is so rich. And bringing all of this together, and I don't mean this in an arrogant sense, all glory to God. I've never seen anybody put it together like this. package it in this way. I've been looking on YouTube and other places like that, trying to see what somebody else has done. I'll give them credit, right? And do it that way, but not in the way that I'm approaching this tonight. Jumping way ahead of myself before I even do the welcome. Tonight, we are going to take a look at black-skinned people within the whole known world, influencing it. I'm giving away secrets from the beginning. All right, let me do my thing here. All right, welcome to the Urban Apologetics channel. As always, glad that you're here. We are in my favorite spot, the man cave. Now, last week I showed you a few of my cars. I should have put a picture together for you so that you could see a few more things. But nevertheless, just glad you're here. Welcome to the man cave, trying to make you the smartest person in the room as it pertains to this particular subject. All right? I don't know everything, as my pastor used to say, but I know some things. And that part that he knew, he was saying, I know it very, very well. So making you the smartest person in the room as it pertains to this, and going deep, studying hard for you to make sure that you get good, solid, scholarly information, not stuff that's off the top of my head, right? But things that you can verify yourself and use, not something I just Googled, although I've Googled some scholarly stuff, but not just trying to find what I want to find. All right. And this happens every single Monday. So definitely want you to be here. Let me say what I always say. If you are watching this on Facebook, I want to let you, on YouTube, on the Urban Apologetics channel, I want to let you know that we are on Jackie Jackson Facebook, not Jackie Jackson Ministries, but Jackie Jackson Facebook. If you happen to be watching this on Facebook, I want to make sure that you know that we are also on YouTube Live. And the benefit of YouTube Live is that it's stagnant. Anything that's on my Facebook timeline is going to move, but this stuff is stagnant. So if you want to go take notes, catch something that you hadn't caught before, almost everything you're going to hear tonight, I would assume, is new. So you're going to want to go to a spot, the Urban Apologetics channel, where you have the ability to pause it and take some notes. All right. So make sure when you're there to like and subscribe to the channel. All right. Got a little something that I need to do. I've been expecting this to happen. And before we get into the lesson, I got something that I need to say, that needs to be said. I have been expecting some pushback. I've been expecting some detractors. Got a couple of notes that were not pleasant. I guess what you need to understand is you're not going to run me off. If I send you something that's an ad, you certainly, as my friend responded to someone and said, you can just go by that. I think people either do that because they're hostile to Christianity, or they do that because they don't want to even hear Black biblical history. Don't know the reason why. I don't like mind reading, so I'm not going to read him by his mind. I'm all about the facts. But you do need to understand, right in the beginning, because I know some people co-signed with some of the people that sent me stuff. You need to understand you're not going to run me off. As my pastor used to say, you can't kill what's already dead, right? So I've already surrendered my life to this. I've been studying this for 30 years. God has prepared me for this point, and you're not going to run me off. Let me give you a quick story, because this is all the time you're going to get. There was a time as I was working on the street, and I've had people pull knives on me and threaten my life while I'm out there. I know I haven't talked a lot about my evangelistic experience and that I'm a street preacher, set up teams, been different places, different cities. I've done it, trained churches all around this city. All right. But someone called my house when my phone number was still listed and told me the route that my children walked home, and threatened to rape and kill my daughters. So you know what I did? Instead of going on the street once a week, I took it to 2 times a week. You're not going to scare me off. It's not my personality. All you're going to do is fire me up, and I'll be on every night of the week. I'm already archiving messages and setting up people that will hold on to those messages so if anything ever happens to me, now, ain't no easy win. Now, you can be a punk, try to sneak up behind somebody if you want to. However, I'm not an easy win. So if we mano a mano, you just like somebody when I was even shorter than I am now that was 6'1", you have a surprise coming. All right? Don't start now, won't be none. But you just need to know that all you're going to do is fire me up. You're not going to run me off. That's not, again, it's not my personality. All right, want to remind you tonight that this is adult story time. We're going to get into some stuff tonight. And yeah, it's going to be a blessing. It's going to be a blessing. Black history is 24/7, man. 24/7, 365. You know, it's not just Black History Month and that's it. There's so much information. I don't even have an idea. I've been trying to figure out how long it will actually take to work my way through everything that's just kind of blanket stuff. Then I can go back and start grabbing biblical individuals and pull them out and talk about them. So just Old Testament, New Testament can take a long time. If I start talking about modern times, which I am now doing on Wednesday nights, if I start talking about modern times, all the Black people that have had the human calculator and folks that some of you guys have never even heard about, if I start pulling those people out, man, it's endless. There's so much to be encouraged about. You know, but what is really blessing me right now is that the Bible and science are in agreement. That's the reason why I was running, started on time, but feeling like I was running behind. Why? Because I just keep finding, again, I've been studying this 30 years. I've already got information, but now all this DNA stuff is adding to it, and I get curious about stuff I may never even share with you. But I'm the kind of person, in the way that I've been trained, I'll study for 6 hours to make one sentence just because I want to make sure that it's accurate, right? And I think that it's important. There's something that I ran into actually today. Been having some sleepless nights because I'll find something and I just get in somewhere and I can't get out. But I got plenty of energy tonight. I'm good. But I found this, it doesn't matter if you're Black or you're white. If you're saying something that's untrue and you're biased, I'm not using your information. So I'm reading through this stuff and I'm also watching videos that are attached to this article. And what really surprised me was who the creators of the article. But this person was trying to say that a group of people that we'll cover tonight, that they were Muslim. Somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 years before the Muslim faith ever existed. You know, it's like somebody that does a simple Google search and realizes in what century Islam started, it does away with everything else you said. Put your time in. All this other information that I thought really lined up. Once I catch a glitch like that, I researched the researcher. And a lot of the other stuff was right on point. But then you make a statement like that for one or two reasons. You're either Muslim or you think Christianity is the white man's religion, which is not right. And because of that, you want to throw something like that in, which just destroys everything else you were trying to say because it's so far-fetched. Anybody could make a mistake and an error, but you're not going to make a almost 2,000-year-old error, something that anybody can Google. Stop that. Do the research. Put your time in so that what you're saying can be believed and accepted. All right? Again, the Bible and science agree. There's no disagreement between Scripture and the Bible. Between Scripture and science. There's no disagreement. Last week, let me pop this up here. I hope you can see this okay. Yeah, that looks good. All right. Last week, I mentioned these things, kind of just throwing them out there. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail today. Well, we're going to deal with the origins of man. Now, before we get into that, I need to make sure that you understand something. I don't believe in the theory of evolution. So when they start telling you something's 100,000 years, 40,000 years, all of that, I don't agree with that. All right? But it doesn't mean that the DNA evidence, their dating of it, I might not agree with. But what they say they found, I do. Okay? And that's just a preface. I got something else I want to show you first. Take a look at this, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Our ancient connections may not be obvious to this group. Our ancestors adapted to different climates, and as a result, humans are now among the most physically varied-looking species on the planet. But looks can be deceiving.
We're basically identical at the genetic level. I mean, if you look at the average person's DNA sequence and compare the same region to another person they're unrelated to, you know, they're 99.9% identical.
All that? There. Look right here. This is great.
Light, dark, big, small, curly, straight, brown, blue. Minuscule genetic changes account for all of our differences. To track our ancient paths, though, scientists study DNA that stays very much the same. In men like George Dellis, it's a Y chromosome.
All that? Let's do one more.
It's been passed down the line from father to son over thousands of generations, and ultimately traces back to one man who lived in Africa around 60,000 years ago. Call him Scientific Adam. He wasn't the only guy alive back then, but only his Y chromosome survived through the ages, and every man alive today has a copy.
Up and down, really push it in there.
For women like Nejla Demirci, the DNA comes from special cell structures called mitochondria, which both men and women carry, but only moms pass along. These trace back to one woman who also lived in Africa between 150 to 200,000 years ago. Call her Scientific Eve. She is the oldest root of our family tree. Africa is where the journey begins for everyone alive today.
Really doesn't matter where you look in history on this earth. When DNA research is done, when science is done, the origin of the oldest people that are in Europe, I'm counting Russia within that are down in Australia and certainly in Africa, certainly in Turkey, Asia Minor and Asia itself, meaning China and Japan. When the research is done, they run smack dab into the black man. It doesn't really matter where it is. They run into the black man. So let's take a look at something here. We talked last week about the Sungir man. Now that sometimes is spelled with an H, if you can see that there on the bottom. And, saying he lived 20,000 years ago. I've told you I don't agree with the dates, but I do agree with the fact that they found, these, I think it was 10 bodies in Vladimir, Russia. And those 10 bodies that they found They did DNA testing on them. They had skulls, and this is in, you can look at this man and you can see his features and tell, what he looked like. Cambridge University did the study that they did. They found these bodies and they found all kinds of, Cambridge University Press. Let me get that off so you can see this. Hope you can see that very well. That they had pearls on them. They had the bones of woolly mammoths on them. They had beads. Let me say beads, not pearls. But sorry, I don't know jewelry perfectly. But anyway, they had all of this stuff in it, and they were wrapped in it. A sign of wealth and royalty. And what they were studying is their burial methods, because they seemed to be very special. I mean, they didn't develop pyramids and things like that, but they took great care. And they would bury people head to head. I've got a picture that looks a lot like this one, where they bury them head to head. But anyway, when they reconstructed these folks, when they reconstructed them, they had these black features. But this is where they found them, right? East of Moscow, a little north maybe, east of Moscow, in Russia, in the northern part of Russia. They found other folks that they reconstructed. Now they're dating these folks back to like cavemen, Neanderthal, and some other little fancy names that I found. But they're finding these people in Russia and did this research. And some of this isn't that long ago. I believe it was 2015, 2014. They start making these discoveries. And the more they find these things in our modern era, and some scientists are going back and taking a look at this stuff, but the more they find them in this modern era, the easier it is to do carbon dating and research, DNA research, to help better understand, how these people lived, what they ate, and basically what race they were, or what their skin color looked like. Race certainly wouldn't have existed. This is all what we might consider as prehistoric. This is after Adam, as far as I'm concerned. This man, as I've talked about before, you can look at his features. You can tell his hair, his nose, and we're going to do some, one of the studies that we're going to do is I'm going to tell you where straight hair comes from. The color of eyes. We're going to look at it scientifically. And I'm going to show you black Africans that have both. So it's not like, I don't want to get into that tonight. But this man was found in the Ukraine. Now here's another picture of Sungur man and several others. And I showed this last week. That American rendition that's right there in the middle. They just can't help themselves. Research. And one of the reasons, I don't leave a lot of those in, but one of the reasons I left that in was to show you just how they'll try to Europeanize somebody. You don't need to. Let's just tell the truth. The truth is way more delicious than a lie. Let's tell the truth. This is another figure. Europe, they dug up his bones, reconstructed what he would have looked like, understanding what the pigment of his skin would look like. This is another person that DNA research was done on, and then they created the mold afterwards, and this is what he would look like. Where did I say? In Europe. And all the way, as I've talked about before, as far as England, Cheddar Man. Black, different color eyes, straight hair, but he's a black-skinned individual. He's not a Caucasoid. He's a black man. So what have I done so far? We got all of Europe in there.